By Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Epigenetics and the Sins of the Father. GodSaidManSaid.com. U.S. colleges, new mental institutions. Close Satan's secret door. GodSaidManSaid.com. Mummies and the Sons of Ham. Alcohol and Christians. Geologists say yes to crucifixion. GodSaidManSaid.com. Which religion? Which Bible? Quantum physics to Adam's rib. Hours of text and streaming audio. GodSaidManSaid.com.
The opinions expressed on this show are those of the participants, the hosts, the guests, and the callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions and views of Southern Stone Communications, WNDB Radio, its employees, and friends. Comments regarding WNDB's programming can be addressed to D. Lang at DaytonaRadio.com.
Live from Daytona Beach, Florida, bringing a voice to America's forgotten working class, speaking the truth for the America that Washington left behind, making America great again, 1 hour at a time. This is Trump Talk Live, where we the people have the right voice, presented by the Republican Party of Volusia County. Now, here are your hosts, Vic Baker and Tony Ledbetter.
Greetings, fellow American Patriot Trumppublicans, and welcome to the T-Rex exit strategy, Rocket Man double dare nuclear threat, tax reform home stretch, Dow wow, caught with their pants down, congressional hush money, Pocahontas poke, FBI dossier cover-up, drive them out episode of Trump Talk Live, the home of fearless truth-telling about President Donald Trump's mission to drain the swamp, unleash the power of free American enterprise, liberate us from the IRS stranglehold, and wipe terrorists from the face of the earth. Well, the rumors have been flying, and the New York Times is adding fuel to the fire, reporting that Secretary of State Rex Tillerson will leave in January, with CIA Director Mike Pompeo taking over Foggy Bottom, while Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton takes the CIA helm. Trump is mum. But this may be one of many changes for year two, so stay tuned. This ought to be a wake-up call to the world. North Korea's tin pot madman, rocket man Kim Jong-un, has launched an ICBM capable of hitting any city in the USA. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley warns that war may be coming. If that happens, she says, North Korea will be utterly destroyed. Not degraded and, utterly destroyed. This will not end well. Good news on the home front. GDP growth surged 3.3% during the third quarter, and the Dow Jones average hit 24,000 for the first time today, well beyond that, in fact. All this comes in anticipation that late tonight or early tomorrow morning, the Senate will actually pass a version of President Trump's tax cut bill, adding rocket fuel to the American economy. Even grouchy John McCain is aboard. It's time to say Merry Christmas. Donald Trump is delivering the biggest Christmas present that taxpayers have ever seen. Trump calls out the New York Times editorial board for engaging in Democrat demagoguery. The Times is using social media to lobby readers to oppose the Trump tax reform. Go figure. A Trump-appointed judge delivers a victory against the deep state, backing the president's naming of OMB Director Mick Mulvaney to run the powerful Consumer Fraud Protection Bureau. Mick is replacing deep state swamp dweller Richard Cordray, pushing away Cordray's deputy director, who was a hand-picked successor. Mick is going to rein in the regulatory overreach of the Bureau, which does not have to answer to Congress. Powerful men are getting caught with their pants down, from New York to L.A. to Silicon Valley, Capitol Hill, and even Lake Wobegon. NBC quickly dropped the axe on Today's Show host Matt Lauer amid allegations of rampantly rapacious behavior against women. NPR cut the microphone cord on longtime Prairie Home Companion host Garrison Keillor after sexual harassment allegations. House leadership is now calling on senior Congressman John Conyers to resign over numerous complaints about sexual harassment. Turns out Conyers used his office account to pay hush money to victims. More allegations emerge against Senator Frankengruber over his misbehavior with women. How long will he last? And now we're learning that Congress paid out $17 million or more of your tax money to settle sexual harassment claims and shut up the victims. Outrage. Ron DeSantis and Marsha Blackburn call for an end to the hush fund, full disclosure, and full accountability. Things are going to be changing. Oh, by the way, Judge Roy Moore is still standing. Claims that Moore chased after young girls decades ago are falling apart. Moore leads in the polls and vows to help drain the swamp when he represents Alabama in the U.S. Senate. It's more than likely going to happen, folks. Congress is threatening to cite the FBI and DOJ for contempt. That's because deep staters appear to be stonewalling congressional demands for documents about that fake Trump dossier that the FBI used to get court-ordered surveillance on the Trump campaign and associates. Remember all the scoffing on March 4th this year when Trump complained that the FBI wiretapped him? Well, he was right. He was being wiretapped. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is battling to hide her hard drive from court review. This after the arrest of her top IT aide for financial shenanigans. And remember, when Trump told Muslim nations in May to eliminate radical Islamic terrorists and drive them out? Well, a new prince is taking over the Saudi kingdom, and after cleaning house in the House of Saud, the Saudis are mobilizing to drive the terrorists out of the Mideast. We're coming to you live from the Daytona Beach, Florida studios of WNDB. You can hear us at 93.5 FM or 1150 FM. Or you can listen online by going to TrumpTalkLive.com and clicking on the link. We normally allow you to watch us live on Facebook or YouTube. That function's not working. We're having a little trouble with the Wi-Fi tonight, so we'll have a pre-recorded version later on Facebook and YouTube for you. You can listen to prior episodes with a free subscription to Trump Talk Live on iTunes or Google Play. We want to thank our crew, Phil Kincaid on the board, and Volusia County TARS Chair Duncan DeMarsh on the graphic controls, assisted by fellow teenage Republican Malcolm Swaggerty, who's with us here tonight. So, we're ready. I'm your Trump-Publican truth teller, Vic Baker, hosting the show alongside a very busy Volusia County Republican Chairman Tony Ledbetter, who has many reasons to say Merry Christmas this year. Tony, what's in Santa's bag for you this year?
I don't know, but I appreciate Joe Fieldus filling in for me last week. I appreciate that, and we definitely want to wish everybody. Hope everybody had a happy Turkey Day. I went up to my daughter's house and got to play with my grandkids and have some turkey. And but wow, the Dow hitting 24,000 is just unbelievable, and I believe it's gonna head up more and more, and then thank God for President Trump being in the White House and being elected. So now we can be proud of the fact that we can say the words Merry Christmas and celebrate Merry Christmas in the White House and all over the United States without being told we shouldn't be doing that. Tax reform. This is I'm sure it's going to happen, and it's going to be extremely exciting that we get this through, because it will be the single most important thing that happens this year for President Trump. We're going to have a tax reform rally this Saturday at 1 o'clock. All you have to do is just show up with your Trump signs, Trump gear, Trump hats, whatever you have. We'll be at the corner of ISB, International Speedway Boulevard, and Beach Street, downtown Daytona. And we'll be down there saying all kind of positive things and praising President Trump. And I think there'll be a few Democrats down there talking about this being a tax scam. So come down there. We need to have twice as many people as they have, and I'm sure we will. So thank you, Vic. Let's get her all fired up.
We'll get to tax reform in a few minutes, but first let's talk about some of the hot news from the Trump Talk Live newsroom. White House plans Tillerson ouster from State Department to be replaced by Pompeo within weeks, says the New York Times. The White House has developed a plan, they say, to force out Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, we call him T-Rex, whose relationship with President Trump has been strained, according to the New York Times, and replace him with Mike Pompeo, CIA director, within the next several weeks. Pompeo would then be replaced, says the Times, by Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, who's a an expert on national security matters and a very strong candidate for that post. But you have to understand something. This has been denied by Chief of Staff John Kelly. It's been denied by spokesperson at the State Department, Heather Nauert, says that there's nothing there. I mean, as of right now, he's the Secretary of State. He serves at the pleasure of the president. They are known to have regular lunches together, Trump and Rex Tillerson. They're both strong-willed CEOs who have commanded great empires, and they don't agree on everything. So what? But the mistake, and I heard Shep say it on Fox News this afternoon, and I wanted to shoot him. He said, well, the State Department's complained that Trump doesn't understand. He's interfering with their foreign policy. Wait a minute. No. It's not their foreign policy. It's President Trump's foreign policy.
Right.
He's the president of the United States. He's in charge of foreign policy. The State Department's not elected by anybody.
And this is not the first time that we've heard that Tillerson's leaving. That's like a broken record over the last couple of months.
Well, I think the swamp dwellers at Foggy Bottom are trying to push that narrative. Now, personnel cuts at the State Department are worrying foreign policy establishment, according to Rick Moran, who wrote this item. He said, without much fanfare, Secretary of State Tillerson is downsizing the State Department bureaucracy, and the foreign policy establishment is pushing back. Besides the Defense Department, there's no more bloated federal department than Foggy Bottom. Tillerson says he wants to eliminate 2,000 jobs by October of next year. More importantly, the top-heavy management staff at State will be cut in half. That has current and former department personnel sounding the alarm. They've got far more people than they need, and let's not be diplomatic at all about it.
Well, President Trump said he's going to cut the budget.
Yeah. Speaking of not being diplomatic, okay, Nikki Haley laid it out at the United Nations after that tin pot plumpocrat, Kim Jong-un, fired an intercontinental ballistic missile that went up about 2,800 miles. That would be capable of hitting anything on the planet with a nuclear warhead if he so chose. And so Nikki Haley served notice both to him and to China. They better get serious about choking off his oil supply. Let's listen.
The North Korean regime made a choice. It chose to feed its nuclear aggression. It chose to thumb its nose at the civilized world. It chose to challenge the patience of a world united against its recklessness. And with this choice comes a critical decision point for the rest of the world. Yesterday's missile launch was more advanced than previous launches. No one can doubt that this threat is growing. No one can doubt that North Korean dictator is getting more aggressive in his obsession for nuclear power. Yesterday, the regime declared itself a nuclear power, saying that it, quote, completed the state nuclear force tipped with a super-large heavy warhead capable of striking the whole mainland of the United States. It has emphatically said it will not eliminate its nuclear production. And North Korea is in clear violation of multiple Security Council resolutions. We are once again at a time of reckoning. We have some options. First, we should continue to treat North Korea as the international pariah it has become by taking its UN rights and privileges away, including its voting powers. Second, we know the main driver of its nuclear production is oil. Through sanctions, we have cut off 90% of North Korean trade and 30% of its oil. But the crude oil remains. The major supplier of that oil is China. In 2003, China actually stopped the oil to North Korea. Soon after, North Korea came to the table. We need China to do more. President Trump called Chinese President Xi this morning and told him that we have come to the point that China must cut off the oil from North Korea. That would be a pivotal step in the world's effort to stop this international pariah. The dictator of North Korea made a choice yesterday that brings the world closer to war, not farther from it. We have never sought war with North Korea, and still today, we do not seek it. If war does come, it will be because of continued acts of aggression like we witnessed yesterday. And if war comes, make no mistake, the North Korean regime will be utterly destroyed.
I think that leaves no room for equivocation.
Yeah,
she's pretty much put it to rest. Now we're going to take a break and come back with the machinations over tax reform when Trump Talk Live returns.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. We're not done yet. More Trump Talk Live is just ahead. In God we trust. In America we believe.
Feeling stuck in a state of compensation stagnation? You know, another year with no raise. Then let State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand help you get to a better state with a discount double check that can stretch your hard-earned dollars a little farther. Sonia will go through your car insurance to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. Discounts that could add up to 40% and put a few $100 extra in your pocket. Sound good? Then get your budget to a better state by calling State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand today. Discounts may vary state to state.
DaytonaHelpWanted.com salutes the employee of the month, the one employee you can't live without. The others, let's just call them Dave.
Dave, are you stealing from the vending machine?
No, Mr. Employee of the Month.
Well, your desk is littered with like hundreds of snacks.
I merely exposed a loophole by reaching my arm through the flap thingy. Does that sound like stealing to you?
Yes.
Granola bar?
If you don't mind hiring Daves, go to the national job boards. They may be free, but trust us, they'll cost you. We make it easy to post a job, and it's local, so you won't get spammed by faraway job seekers. DaytonaHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
Well, Democrats always talk about bipartisanship, but usually with them it's my way or the highway, and that's the case this week when Trump said a few things that Chuck Schumer and Fancy Nancy didn't like, so they decided to keep their marbles on Capitol Hill and not go to the White House to join the leadership meeting. And this is what Schumer said just as Trump was heading to a meeting with the GOP senators on Capitol Hill. Schumer was on the floor of the Senate throwing this slap down.
The president said, I don't see a deal 3 hours before our meeting, before he heard anything we had to say. Given that the president doesn't see a deal between Democrats and the White House, Leader Pelosi and I believe the best path forward is to continue negotiating with our Republican counterparts in Congress instead. Rather than going to the White House for a show meeting that won't result in an agreement from a president who doesn't see a deal, we've asked Leader McConnell and Speaker Ryan to meet with us this afternoon.
McConnell, Mitch, and Speaker Ryan met with President Trump that afternoon, and President Trump was in the Roosevelt room with two empty chairs, one on the left and one on the right side of him, and he just moved on without him. He talked about tax reform cut number 2.
We're in a very good position in terms of the meeting we just had over at the Capitol with the Republican senators. It was outstanding. I think we have tremendous support. I was just informed by Mitch that we had a unanimous vote from the Republican side, at least. We had a unanimous vote on the tax bill, and it goes now the next step, and I think we're going to get it passed. I think it's going to pass, and it's going to be very popular. It's going to have lots of adjustments before it ends, but the end result would be a very, very massive, the largest in the history of our country, tax cut, and lots of good things are going to happen, including the bringing back to our country of, it probably will end up being over $4 trillion.
Over $4 trillion. That's some serious cash. Now, Nancy Pelosi makes this cry today about, no, what is it going to do to the deficit? $1.5 trillion, maybe it adds to the deficit. That's when they're scoring it. The CBO, they score it, Tony, not dynamically. So they don't account for all the economic growth that will result from the tax cuts, and so they see the deficit.
Yeah, they ignore that.
That's number one. Number two, as Senator Cruz pointed out this afternoon, look, if the economy slows down, we'll just cut spending. We don't have to increase taxes.
Right.
And
that's the Republican way.
And the other thing we need to remind people, who raised the national debt $8 trillion, $10 trillion, doubling the national debt in 8 years, more than any other president before him. Barack Obama and his cohorts, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
They didn't worry about it for 8 years.
They didn't care about deficits then. All of a
it.
sudden, they're concerned about deficits now while we're trying to get Americans some of their hard-earned money back. Now, Speaker Ryan was at this meeting with the president. Here's what he said about their no-show, the Democrats.
I'm very happy to see that the consumer confidence level is just about the highest it's ever been. In fact, I don't want to make any mistakes in front of the press because you'll get me on it, but to the best of my knowledge, it's the highest it's ever been. Consumer confidence has been setting records. They have confidence in the people leading their country.
Yeah, I think it's regrettable that our Democratic colleagues in leadership chose not to join us today. For a bill to become a law, Congress has to pass a bill and the President signs a bill. That means Congress and the White House always negotiate legislation. We have important work to do. We have big deadlines to meet. We have a military in need of our support, and that work needs to happen now. And I just think it's very regrettable that our Democratic colleagues in leadership chose to not participate, because we have to negotiate these bills to get this work done for the people we represent, and especially to help our military with these difficult situations we have. And I just hope that our friends in leadership on the other side of the aisle will choose to participate so we can get people's work done.
I've been in this position under a couple of previous presidents. I can't recall ever turning down an opportunity to go down to the White House. As the Speaker mentioned, only one person in America can sign a bill into law, and that's the President of the United States. You cannot negotiate the year-end, the omnibus spending bill without the person who signs the bill in the room. So I think the Democratic leaders in the House and Senate need to understand the way the government works. And the administration has to be a part of the ultimate negotiation over what the spending level is going to be for the next year.
Now, today, we shift to today. Capitol Hill, Mitch McConnell came out of a session after they had voted to advance the tax bill to debate on the floor of the Senate. And Mitch always hedges his bets a little bit, but today he was very optimistic. We'll listen to Mitch now.
We're in the stretch. You know, horse racing is kind of a big deal in Kentucky. We're going down the home stretch, headed toward the finish line either late tonight or early tomorrow. What's in this for the American people and for small businesses, obviously, is tax relief, an opportunity to hire more people, to build more of America, and to get the growth rate up. And the growth rate's already beginning to tick up, as you've noticed on these last few quarters, in anticipation of what we're about to do, and also in recognition of the great deregulatory efforts that have already been going on during this administration. So I congratulate all these successful small business persons, and we're going to make them even more successful. Thank you so much.
So, Mitch McConnell, he's optimistic, Tony. He's expecting great things. GDP is at 3.3%, as we mentioned. That's we haven't seen that in years. The stock market is soaring. The stock market is actually up 21 to 22% for the year.
Yep.
It's up 5,000 points or more since Trump was elected.
Well, let's face it. You know, they said they beat Trump up back during the primary and the general election, and said, well, if you get elected, you're never going to get more than a percentage or 1.5%. But I realistically believe, I mean, we've hit 3% for the first 3 quarters. Once this tax package goes through, I mean, we seriously can hit 4, 5, or even 6% growth over the next 2, 4, or 6 years, which will bring into the coffers of the federal government
trillions of dollars,
trillions and trillions of dollars. And that, I mean, we believe that, but the Democrats still want to believe in the tooth fairy.
Well, they still deny the realities of Reaganomics, where in Reagan's second term, after the passage of that tax reform bill,
it worked.
We had 7% economic growth.
Yep.
Okay,
we're back. We're going back to that.
So
too,
the president went back to Missouri, Claire McCaskill's turf, and he slapped her and said, "You better get on board." And a bill to cut taxes. He wants to put America first. Cut number 2 in St. Charles.
A vote to cut taxes is a vote to put America first again. We want to do that. We want to put America first again. It's time to take care of our workers, to protect our communities, and to rebuild our great country.
Yeah, and all the trillions of dollars spent overseas, now it's time, he says, to invest in America. He said, this is going to be a Trump economic boom. Listen to cut number 5, talking about what's happening in anticipation.
The unemployment rate nationwide is the lowest it's been in 17 years. And 13 states this year have seen unemployment drop to the lowest levels in the history of their state. And I hate to tell you, but Missouri happens to be one of them. We've created nearly 2 million jobs. 2 million jobs. Think of that. We used to lose millions. Now we've created 2 million jobs since I won the election. And I want to say since you won the election. I didn't win the election. You won the election.
You won the election. Okay. Now, as we've said, 3.3% growth. We don't need to repeat that. But the tax planning ones on cut 7, simple and fair for working Americans.
We want a tax code that is simple and fair, and that's for all Americans. The plan that senators will be voting on this week, hopefully as soon as possible, closes the loopholes that corporations use to shift their profits to tax havens. And it eliminates deductions for CEO salaries over $1 million. You see what some of these people are making. A little ridiculous. I'm driving up their stock. They're making a fortune. Then they go to their board and they tell everybody what a great job they're doing. But what am I going to do? And many of them, honestly, I don't like. Oh.
That's a New York line if ever.
Yeah, I love to hear him back on the stump. I mean, he's the greatest at that.
He's good at it. Yeah,
fantastic.
Absolutely good. So now here's the crux of it. I was just talking to an associate on the phone on the way to the show, and I said, "Look it's working people. It's working people stiffs in the middle class that elected Trump because he had a message that resonated with them, and he understands them." Listen to the president talking about the working people of America. Cut 8.
Our focus is on helping the folks who work in the mailrooms and the machine shops of America, the plumbers, the carpenters, the cops, the teachers, the truck drivers, the pipe fitters, the people that like me best. Actually, the rich people actually don't like me, which is sort of interesting, and that's fine. You know what? I like that trade. But really, the people that like me best are those people, the workers. They're the people I understand the best. Those are the people I grew up with. Those are the people I worked on construction sites with. All of the people who give their best each and every day to take care of their family and the country that they love. These are incredible people. They came out to vote for me. They came out to vote for us. People that worked hard, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, that hadn't voted in many years because they never had anybody they wanted to vote for.
But they found that person in Trump. And okay, the last thing, this tax vote, he said, that's happening tonight, is the starting line for a new American revival, and we're going to be saying Merry Christmas to all of you because you're going to get a very big gift from Uncle Sam.
This week's vote can be the beginning of the next great chapter for the American worker. To summarize, our plan cuts taxes for the working and middle-income families. It nearly doubles the amount of income taxed at the rate of 0. It lowers tax rate. It expands the child tax credit. It provides relief from the estate tax, also known as the death tax. It cuts small business taxes. It reduces the corporate rate from 35% all the way down to 20%. And it provides a one-time low tax rate to return corporate money parked overseas, trillions and trillions of dollars. This is the right plan. This is the right time. We have a moment in time. The Republicans have the Senate. The Republicans have the House. The Republicans have the White House.
And for a guy that's supposedly new to politics, he understands, Tony.
Well, he wrote The Art of the Deal. I mean, I've said this 1,000 times, he's playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers, and he's 4 moves ahead of everybody else that he's dealing with in the chess game. He's just, in my mind, I've said this before, he's his own best strategist. and he's a genius at this, and he's already started talking about reforming welfare next year.
Yep.
And he's talked about what Bill Clinton did, but Bill Clinton didn't really do it. It was Newt, and it was the House that was run by the Republicans back then. But yet Bill Clinton always says, "Well, I did that. You know,
They
well, he
forced
didn't
him
do it
into
without,
it.
you know, with
They
Newt,
forced
you
him
know,
into it, yeah.
backing him into a corner and said, "You're going to do this."
That's right.
And,
all right, Tony, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back with the Financial Protection Board. And Trump, they think it's a coup d'etat when the President of the United States takes control of his own government. We'll have more on that in a moment.
Boss.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. Keep your radio or phone app or computer right where it is for more Trump Talk Live, where good old-fashioned American common sense is making a comeback.
For the first time ever, Daytona International Speedway will transform into a holiday spectacle when the biggest and brightest holiday tradition comes alive. It's Magic of Lights, a 1.5-mile drive-through holiday lights experience. Millions of lights and dazzling animation make this new holiday tradition a can't miss for the whole family. One carload, one price. Tickets at magicoflights.com, benefiting the Florida Hospital Memorial Foundation, now through December 31st.
Feeling stuck in a state of compensation stagnation? You know, another year with no raise. Then let State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand help you get to a better state with a discount double check that can stretch your hard-earned dollars a little farther. Sonia will go through your car insurance to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. Discounts that could add up to 40% and put a few $100 extra in your pocket. Sound good? Then get your budget to a better state by calling State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand today. Discounts may vary state to state.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
All right, welcome back. Let's talk a few minutes about our sponsors. Keith Milne Roofing has been with us from day one, helping us. Marino Pizza over in the DeLand area. A lot of good food there. Sonia Mori at State Farm is one of our sponsors, and we appreciate everything that everybody does for us. If you would like to be one of our sponsors, give me a call at 386-235-7755. We can always use the help, and we appreciate everything everybody does for us.
All right, Tony, thank you. Let's go on with our news. Okay, take a breath, you hyperventilating lefty Obamacrats. We will obey the laws, says Mr. Mick Mulvaney, who came with donuts this week to take over the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Right?
That's right. Obama creation, yeah.
This Obama creation, which was created, it gets its funding from the Federal Reserve. Congress has no power to purse over it. It has no power to hire or fire these people other than, apparently they had in the law, the Dodd-Frank law, that monstrosity, that if the director left, the deputy director would be automatically the interim director. Well, there's something called the Federal Vacancies Act that takes precedence over that. Fortunately, Trump had appointed a federal judge who agreed with that viewpoint, and Mick Mulvaney showed up for work, as did the deputy director, and Mick Mulvaney said, no, you don't sit at that desk. I sit at that desk. So Mick's in charge. And here's what he said to the reporters about all the fears that he was going to just take this whole place apart. Number one.
Rumors that I'm going to set the place on fire or blow it up or lock the doors are completely false. I'm a member of the executive branch of government. We intend to execute the laws of the United States, including the provisions of Dodd-Frank that govern the CFPB. That being said, the way we go about it, the way we interpret it, the way we enforce it will be dramatically different under the current administration than it was under the last. Anybody who thinks that a Trump administration CFPB would be the same as an Obama administration Trump CFPB is simply being naive. Elections have consequences at every agency, and that includes the CFPB.
Okay, so tell us, Mick, what's going to happen right away? What are you going to do immediately? What's going to happen?
Effective today, we've put something similar in place here to what we did across the entire executive branch at the outset of the administration. I think at the outset of the administration we did a 90-day hiring freeze. We've put a 30-day hiring freeze here at CFPB. Probably more importantly, we put a 30-day immediate freeze on any new rules, regulation, and guidance. Anything that's in the pipeline stops for at least 30 days while I get a chance to see exactly what's going on and kick the tires here at the Bureau. Additionally, there'll be no payments out of the civil penalties fund for at least 30 days while I get a chance to see what's happening with that. I think there's in excess of $50 million in that fund, and I want to give a handle on what that fund is all about before we start making any distributions.
See, the problem Mick points out, he's the head of the Office of Management and Budget. He's used to having budget lines and accountability and lines of communication, lines of authority. This thing is outside the constitutional authority of any branch of government. It's his own separate branch of government. It's probably unconstitutional.
Yep.
So that's what Mick thinks about this, and here's what he had to say about that.
My opinion of the structure of the CFPB has not changed. I still think it's an awful example of a bureaucracy that has gone wrong when it is almost entirely unaccountable to the people that are supposed to oversee it or supposed to pay for it. I still have the same fundamental principled misgivings about the way this Bureau is structured. I think it is wrong to have a completely unaccountable federal bureaucracy. I think it's completely wrong. By the way, I'm just learning about the powers that I have as acting director. They would frighten most of you.
And they would be frightened if he were in charge. Now, liberal groups have lent moral support to Leandra English, who's the deputy director, who's filed a lawsuit to keep her position as interim director. That would not last long anyway, because Trump's going to appoint a permanent director, and that'll be, once confirmed by the Senate, that becomes the permanent director. But they're not giving her any money for the lawsuit, so that's probably not going to go anywhere. Now, what has happened on Capitol Hill? First of all, let's talk about the big icons of the media to fall. Matt Lauer. The shock hit 30 Rock. On Monday morning, they announced that Matt Lauer has been summarily fired from the Today Show, where he earned $25 million and anchored a franchise that brought the NBC $500 million a year in revenue. He was fired for basically exposing himself to women and pushing himself on women and forcing himself on women and probably raping women. So a lot of this is coming out. It was going to come out anyway, so they got ahead of it. Also, another icon of liberal media, used to enjoy his show. He had a very folksy show called The Prairie Home Companion on NPR. Minnesota-based Garrison Keillor, Tales of Lake Wobegon. Well, he's begone. He's begone. He's also been accused of misbehaving with women, so Garrison Keillor is gone. He also wrote an op-ed saying that they should keep Frank and he didn't do anything wrong. Well, I guess he has a viewpoint, doesn't he? Now, you know, Nancy Pelosi on Sunday, Fancy Nancy, on Meet the Press, they asked, well, should Conyers resign? John Conyers, the senior member of the Congress, the ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, who has apparently for years been abusing women on his staff and paying them off to keep quiet with money out of his office account. John Conyers, who's now in the hospital hiding from all of this. On Sunday, Nancy was saying, oh, he's an icon of civil rights and all this. Here's what she said on Sunday.
John Conyers is an icon in our country. He has done a great deal to protect women, Violence Against Women Act, which the right wing is now quoting me as praising him for his work on that, and he did great work on that. But the fact is, as John reviews his case, which he knows, which I don't, I believe he will do. I believe that he will. Excuse me, may I finish my sentence? Sure. That he will do the right thing.
What, and is the right thing what? Resign?
He will do the right thing in terms of what he knows about his situation, that he's entitled to due process, but women are entitled to due process as well.
But he got it. He took advantage of a situation where he had the rules of Congress, and I know you guys want to change these rules, but he got to hide his settlement. He got to, his accusers had to go through all sorts of craziness. So why is he entitled to new due process in this case?
No, we are talking about what we have heard. I've asked the Ethics Committee to review that. Yeah. He has said he'd be open. It will cooperate.
Do you believe
with
the
any
accusers?
review. Excuse me?
Do you believe John Conyers is accused?
I don't know who they are. Do you? They have not really come forward. And that gets
so you don't know if you believe the accusations?
Well, that's for the Ethics Committee to review. But I believe he understands what is at stake here, and he will do the right thing.
Yeah, well, Conyers did step down under pressure as ranking Democrat on the Judiciary Committee. But Nancy's changed her tune as of today. Here's what Nancy said, and Paul Ryan certainly agrees with it.
Well, the allegations against Congressman Conyers, as we have learned more since Sunday, are serious, disappointing, and very credible. It's very sad. The brave women who came forward are owed justice. I pray for Congressman Conyers and his family and wish them well. However, Congressman Conyers should resign.
No one should have to go through something like that, let alone here in Congress. So yes, I think he should resign. I think he should resign immediately. I've just been briefed on the torrent of allegations.
Okay, that was Ryan. So he says he should resign as well.
You know, we need to have a dinosaur act. You know, that these are two dinosaurs that should have been gone, 10, 15 years ago.
Well, now, of course, Conyers is threatening to take down the whole damn swamp with him, but he's in the hospital now.
Get her done.
He's in the hospital now getting treated for stress. Nothing said about all the stress he caused all these women and the stress he put on the Treasury by using our money to pay them off. Now, Al Franken came back to work on Capitol Hill this week with all apologies over all his misbehavior, and this is what he had to say coming into the office.
I know that I've let a lot of people down, people of Minnesota, my colleagues, my staff, my supporters, and everyone who has counted on me to be a champion for women. To all of you, I just want to again say I am sorry. I know there are no magic words that I can say to regain your trust, and I know that's going to take time. I'm ready to start that process, and it starts with going back to work today. You know, I take a lot of pictures in Minnesota, thousands of pictures, meet tens of thousands of people. So those are instances that I do not remember. It has, from these stories, it's been clear that there are some women, and one is too many, who feel that I have done something disrespectful and that's hurt them, and for that I am tremendously sorry.
He's tremendously sorry. Yeah. Okay. Well, now Franken hid from Bill Clinton's victims who came knocking on his door. He cowered in his office when they came calling to confront him about his behavior, and there are new allegations against him. Judge Jeanine last weekend had a few things to say about it. We're going to go to just cut 3 on her, saying what she thinks should be done to remedy this situation. Number 3.
No more confidentiality. Complainants are forced to work in this same office where they allege the harassment or the hostile work environment occurred, and they're forced into counseling for 30 days and then mediation for another 30 days, as if they're at fault for being a victim. While the lawmakers, well, they're not required to go to anything. Every one of these cases needs to see the light of day. And if we as a society demand that complaints against priests be exposed and filed through our criminal justice system, these representatives should at the very least be held to the same standard.
Thank you, Judge.
Love the judge.
Thank you, Judge. Now, Ron DeSantis is among the Congress members, along with Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. Mm-hmm. She's going to be running for Senate pretty soon, I think.
Yep.
Filing a bill imposing new rules of the full disclosure on all sex harassment settlements. Here's what Ron DeSantis had to say, number 1.
Taxpayers have a right to know how all their money is being spent. So we need to make all of this public. They need to see the claims. They need to see the identities of those who were responsible for the misconduct, and they need that information. 2, we should not have any taxpayer dollars going to bail out misconduct by members of Congress or members of congressional staff. It's a completely inappropriate use of taxpayer money. Those individuals should be personally liable for their own misconduct. And I think we've got to go back and look at some of these claims and then have those members who had the claims settled with taxpayer dollars, let's put them on the hook and make them reimburse the Treasury, because this really is an outrage when that's happening.
It is an outrage. And one other rule. He's going to call it the Conyers rule to prevent any congressman from using office accounts to pay settlements to victims going forward.
And I think you need effectively a Conyers rule, is he used his office budget, which is a separate pot of money, but he disguised the payment. So it didn't say payment for a sexual harassment claim. He paid this lady over 3 months. It looked like she was a normal employee. So he camouflaged those payments. I think that's wrong as well. So I think we need to make it all public. We need to bar taxpayer funds, but we do also need to implement a Conyers rule.
Yeah, it was fraudulent. Yeah. What they did was fraudulent.
Yeah. In the meantime, Judge Roy Moore is still standing, and it looks like he's going to win that Alabama race. We're going to talk about that when Trump Talk Live returns.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. We'll return in just a moment with more Trump Talk Live, getting America right again.
First Baptist Church in Daytona invites you to join them for an exciting, stimulating, thrilling, inspirational, moving, and meaningful time this Christmas season and how to have the best Christmas ever. We all know the hustle and bustle of everyday life jumps into hyperdrive during the holidays, so take time with the family to enjoy this compelling and funny and moving musical that reminds us that the true meaning of Christmas is that Christ came to be our Savior. It's going to be the most spectacular, incredible, wonderful, astonishing, dazzling, magnificent, best Christmas ever. This Christmas season, don't miss how to have the best Christmas ever at First Baptist Church in Daytona. Performances are Friday, December 8th at 7 p.m. and a Sunday matinee on December 10th at 3 p.m. Admission is absolutely free. Come early for a good seat because it will fill up quickly. First Baptist Church is at 118 North Palmetto, just off ISB in downtown Daytona Beach. For more information, please call the church office at 386-253-5691. That's 386-253-5691.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
Welcome back, Trumpublicans. Well, Judge Roy Moore pointed out this week that mudslinging and character assassination against him have come from both sides of the aisle in the D.C. swamp. Nothing like this has ever been alleged against him in 50 years of public life, even though many have tried to dig up dirt on him with all kinds of multiple investigations because he took very positions of conviction that lost him judgeships on 2 occasions, on the Ten Commandments, on gay marriage. Now, all of a sudden, in desperation to derail his campaign to take a Senate seat, they come up with these false claims, as he said. And number 3, here's what he has to say about those claims.
These allegations are completely false. They're malicious. Specifically, I do not know any of these women, nor have I ever engaged in sexual misconduct with any woman. As a former judge and prosecutor, I know the seriousness of charges like this, and they should be serious if it happens. When a young lady is abused, and I've represented many victims in cases such as this, I have not seen one who wants her picture posted on national TV, especially in a political advertisement. The truth is, this is not really odd at all. This is simply dirty politics.
So, Tony, the judge is ahead in the polls now, and it looks like the people of Alabama will elect him to the Senate. Mitch McConnell made noise with Laura Ingraham last night saying that he might be ejected from the Senate, but Ted Cruz today Ted Cruz today was asked that question. He said, no, if the people of Alabama elect him, there's no excuse for anybody who's in Congress to undo that. So,
well,
and first of all,
how long have we been around? A couple of hundred years? This never happened.
Unproven allegations. Yeah. Well, they can do it. They can eject somebody from the Senate, refuse to seat them. The point is, it's against the whole principles of how we elect people. Now, President Trump.
I think President Trump would have something to say about that.
He would, but it's a separate branch of government, so I don't think he'd have anything to say about it. But here's another issue that came up. The president was honoring code talkers, Native American Indians that helped us crack codes during World War II, at the White House, and he made a mention of Pocahontas. We have a person in Congress named Pocahontas who tries to pretend she's one of you guys, but she's not. Now, they turned that into this whole tirade that President Trump committed a racial slur. No, it's a historical fact, and it's not denied by Elizabeth Warren. She lied about having an Indian Native American heritage to get into Harvard. and
Right,
she
was
did
a
not.
Fraud.
Yeah, she committed fraud. So, in effect, this is not a racial slur. This is a slur against somebody of bad character. Enough said on that. Okay, the FBI, supposedly the bastion of the law and truth, justice, and the American way. The FBI, apparently they have deep state minions over there that have been dragging their feet on Congress requests for the records the FBI and Department of Justice have on that fake dossier that was cooked up to smear Trump during the campaign last year. And they have dragged their feet for months. And Devin Nunes, Republican of California, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, is getting ready to pursue contempt of Congress citations against the FBI and Justice Department. Trump tweeted today on that saying, deep state people better get your act together because there's going to be some fireworks on this. You know why? Because that dossier, Tony, that dossier was used. Let's look at the picture of it. The dossier, we're not seeing the picture anyway, but the dossier was used as the basis to get warrants from a FISA court to do surveillance on Trump, of which Trump complained, and people said, oh, you're ridiculous. Nobody was surveilling you. Obama wasn't surveilling you. Yes, they were. And the Democrats, Hillary Clinton and the DNC, paid for that fake dossier and hid the bank records. The whole thing is a festering mess. It's one of the biggest scandals in political history. It makes Watergate look like stealing a sandwich off your picnic basket. You know, it's ridiculous. And that's what they're trying to cover up. And the FBI, they should be ashamed of themselves.
And I knew there's this, I forget this guy's name, but he's been on Fox several times. He was the Inspector General for the intelligence agencies. And he is revealing a lot of things that, and when all this comes out, it's going to be more scary. And I mean, he's talking about people like Clapper knowing all this and being a part of all this, and he's just started talking about a week ago. So we're gonna peel this away and find festering messes underneath. We'll get down to the bottom of the onion.
At the same time, House conservatives are also calling for a full review of the Department of Justice handling of the Clinton email, or mishandling, I should say, of the Clinton email probe, and particularly FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, who is known to be a Clinton supporter. His wife was running as a Democrat with support from Clinton in Virginia. McCabe is a partisan. He should not have been involved in any of that stuff. Now,
this particular guy talks about the Clinton stuff, and he specifically says in his job being the Inspector General, he said, we don't have several different classifications of top secret. It's top secret. And he insinuates and says that this stuff on her computer was top secret, and he was told to sit down and shut up and go away.
That's exactly right. Plus, they intimidated him and they threatened him.
Yeah.
Now, Dan Bongino was a Secret Service agent on the detail following the Clintons a number of years ago, back 17, 18 years ago. Bongino got caught in this snare because former Secret Service agent threatens to reveal details of Bill Clinton's trysts on convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's private jet dubbed Lolita Express. He has threatened to do that, and they're going after him, the Clinton mob, the Clinton mafia, to try to keep him quiet, but he's not shutting up. They tried to claim that he never worked for the Clintons as a Secret Service agent. It all began when he said some damning things about Hillary, and here's what the first thing that was said by Dan.
I found Mrs. Clinton to be the most deceptive human being, manipulative political person in a position of power I'd ever met in my entire life. It wasn't so much that she was a liar. It was that she did it and she deceived and manipulated with such ease.
Bongino responded to a former Clinton staffer, Nick Merrill, who said he never saw Bongino on the detail, but there's a picture. We're looking at it right now. He was on the detail, and Bongino's on the level, but he says the Clintons have some big scandals hidden from the public. We have a caller, which I'm sorry we kept you waiting. It is Lou. Lou, you're on Trump Talk Live. Go ahead, real quick.
Hey, how you doing all this evening?
Good to hear from you.
Got a couple of comments. This thing over people that are coming out, women that are coming out of the woodwork, I think it's kind of sad. I mean, this stuff's been going on forever. And if the women think they're doing something great, you know, there are reports about women who have done things to guys to say, if you get in bed with me, we'll let you progress through the line and become successful. But that's not what I want to talk about. Anyway,
we got to make it brief because we're running out of time. We're toward the end of the show, so go ahead real quick.
All right. The other thing I want to ask you about, I have basically been a Republican all my life.
Yep.
I'm 76 years old.
Yep.
I don't know that I've ever seen a time when we have a situation with Republicans stay Republicans and Democrats stay Democrats. And yet when we elect these people, we ask them to go to Washington or whatever and do the job of what their constituents want. And I think this is ridiculous when they say, I got to go to what the party says. We didn't vote them to go ahead and be in a party, and that's what really burns my...
Well, Lou, thanks for your comment. We got to run because the show's almost over, but thanks. I appreciate your comment. Okay, mystery hard drive linked to Debbie Wasserman Show. We'll skip that. Here's what I want to do real quick. Last year, President Trump made this comment to the Muslim nations, not last year, last May. And he asked them to do this.
America is prepared to stand with you in pursuit of shared interests and common security. But the nations of the Middle East cannot wait for American power to crush this enemy for them. The nations of the Middle East will have to decide what kind of future they want for themselves, for their country, and frankly, for their families and for their children. It's a choice between two futures, and it is a choice America cannot make for you. A better future is only possible if your nations drive out the terrorists.
Drive out the terrorists, drive them from the face of the earth, and guess what? The new Saudi king is going to drive out the terrorists with a task force to do just exactly that.
Right.
Trump is changing the world, and we will see you again next week as we make America great again, 1 week at a time.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Feeling stuck in a state of compensation stagnation? You know, another year with no raise. Then let State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand help you get to a better state with a discount double check that can stretch your hard-earned dollars a little farther. Sonia will go through your car insurance to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. Discounts that could add up to 40% and put a few $100 extra in your pocket. Sound good? Then get your budget to a better state by calling State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand today. Discounts may vary state to state.
You've been listening to Trump Talk Live, making America great again, 1 hour at a time. Follow us at Volusia County Republican Party on Facebook or go to our website, TrumpTalkLive.com for updates. Join your Trump-Publican hosts, Vic Baker and Tony Ledbetter, for another fearless edition of Trump Talk Live next Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on WNDB 1150 AM and 93.5 FM. Trump Talk Live is presented each week by the Republican Party of Volusia County, where we the people have the right voice when it comes to defending America's founding values. In God we trust, in America we believe.
The Republican Executive Committee of Volusia County is responsible for the content of this advertising.